Just over 3 months after the idea was born in the wake of the independent panel report, some of the star names behind the Justice Collective's Hillsborough charity single turned out at Liverpool One's HMV store for its official release.
After 20 years of very slow progress, it seems that in the last 3 years things have accelerated a little bit. So we've got, today the launch of the single, we've got the High Court on Wednesday, and then hopefully in the charts on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it comes out, the single hopefully at number 1 for this Christmas. So it's been a momentous year for the families, and I think this can only help in trying to educate and raise awareness of what happened to Hillsborough and in the aftermath.
Today's the culmination of a whirlwind couple of months.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Well, it's very surreal actually. I was trying to convince Steve Rotheram a couple of months ago that he couldn't compete for a number 1 in a couple of months. It just wasn't. It wasn't feasible because you're dealing with the record industry and these things are all planned 6 to 9 months in advance. But I think it was his natural enthusiasm which swept us all along really. Because I was all for getting the original re-released. Said it was a lot easier and I thought that would be the way forward.
I hope it sells as many as needed to help the families in the best possible way it can, and wherever that takes it, it takes it. And it would be useful if the Chancellor of the Exchequer could waive the VAT the same as he did on the X Factor single. That would be helpful as well.
The reaction of the fans, the reaction particularly at Goodison, has been symbolic of how it's been across Merseyside since '89, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the Evertonians have been fantastically supportive of the families in many ways. From day one they've always been there and stood by their side. I think the tribute they paid when they played the record You Never Walk Alone was very fitting. The picture of the wee boy and girl walking on the pitch with the red and blue shirts on and a 9 and a 6 on it was even more fitting. So for us it's no surprise, but the footballing world in general has been fantastically supportive of the families and their cause, as you say, for 23 years. It's great to see it, but I think the record was also one of the 2 records that most people can remember hearing on the way home from the match. So it's pretty relevant, I think.
It's very, very flattering and humbling to be asked, really, and when you get asked to do something like this at this moment in time where things are so close for the families, you can't possibly say no. Particularly now, since the panel report, the position that had been taken that there was an area, even those people who supported what was going on and said, okay, it probably wasn't all the supporters' fault, but there was always that little question about maybe it was this, or maybe people pushed, or maybe. Now all of that has been completely removed. Now there's no doubt that it was the fault on some level that were yet to be completely confirmed of the way it was all handled at the time. The supporters and the victims were not the perpetrators of the crime. It was the other people, and that, I think, has now made it easier for people to give their wholehearted support, because they've realised that those doubts that were seeded by various publications in the past were just lies.
I was really flattered actually. I went in with Guy to record it, and I never expected to obviously sing the first 2 lines, and when he sent me it back a week later and he'd done the finished song and that, I was flabbergasted, to be honest, but I was chuffed a bit, well happy.
The Everton tribute I thought was absolutely fantastic, and that was the inspiration really for putting this track out, and it was a fantastic gesture because the lyrics mean so much, they're so apt, so relevant, and it's a very poignant, it's a very sad song anyway. But when associated with Hillsborough, it's even more poignant.
And it feels kind of fitting that the single's been released 2 days before what hopefully on Wednesday will be a 23-year wrong getting put right with the inquest getting quashed.
Well, what I've said all the time is that we're musicians, we can produce music, but the real campaigning's gone on from the families, from the politicians, from the journalists over the years who've kept on going, and that includes ordinary fans as well. Survivors. I was at Hillsborough, so it's meant a lot to me. Yeah.